Hello, everybody, and welcome to
uh,
episode
episode Planet Film Live number
79.
Yep, 79. I should probably one day I'll just know. Like boom, I got it. My name is TJ Cornwell, one of your hosts.
And I am your other host, Sean Monk. Welcome back, everybody, to Planet Film Live. We got a lot to talk about this week. We got a lot of news, a lot of celebrity-related news. Some good. Well, actually, none good.
Some good.
But some idiotic, stupid mistakes, and then two sad medical things that, we wish weren't the case.
Yeah.
And then we got a whole host of some movie news, some TV news, entertainment news in general. We're going to touch back on, obviously, kind of the biggest story of the week, the Will Smith thing. We got a lot more information from the Academy just in the past, few hours on Twitter. I think they spoke with, I think it was Variety they spoke with, released a lot more information to kind of give people a better picture of kind of what happened and what's happened since. And then we're going to end off with talking some Daredevil. You're going to talk some Daredevil later on, and then we're going to cap off the show with our thoughts on Moon Knight, episode 1.
Which is probably just going to be our
title of it?
I think it's Fish in a Blender, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And it'll just be a review. We'll just clip it and then put it on the other channel.
Yup.
So it'll probably be about, 30 minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, do we want to talk about what we've been watching, I guess?
Yeah, you can go first, because I am going to try to start, but I have actually been playing something. So,
all right.
You can take the lead on this one.
All right. So, since last Wednesday, I've watched Luca for the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Luca's pretty good. Good movie. I would have been happy if it won Best Animated. It didn't, unfortunately. But in the end, I think Pixar had another fantastic film on their hands. Unfortunately, this was relegated to Disney Plus, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's very unfortunate. Great animation, as always. French Dispatch. Very good movie. Maybe not all the stories. I think, for you, not every story hit with me. Didn't really care about, maybe one or two of them. But
do you agree that, or do you feel like I felt like the Benicio del Toro one is probably the one.
That one was long.
I feel like that's why. I feel like that's why I can, it was the one that was easiest to connect to, because that one was 35 minutes as opposed to
Owen Wilson was 2 seconds.
Yeah, the Owen Wilson one really was disappointing because it's like you said, it's literally 4 minutes of screen time.
Right.
And then he comes back for one scene at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just remembered too, before we go any further, I would like to dedicate this show to birth of my new nephew number 2. My sister Shannon gave birth to Keegan Parnell, not Monk, because that's how weddings work. To Keegan Parnell earlier this afternoon. And she's doing good, and he's doing good and everything, so
congratulations.
Shout out.
So yeah, that was good. I watched the 2015 Fantastic Four. I'd never seen it before. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I started it and I said, I don't get why everybody hates it. I don't understand. And then as it started to go on, I go, okay, I guess I can kind of understand why.
Yeah.
Mainly because I feel like Doom shows up in the last 40 minutes, and then everything happens very quickly. He comes back, he breaks out, he goes back, and then his final plan is happening, and then he dies, and boom.
Yeah.
It's okay. I feel like we didn't get any development or anything.
Yeah.
Let alone that was one of its problems, but yeah, I thought it was that was an interesting movie. Nice try, Josh Trank, but I think you failed on that one.
Do you feel like there was? Do you feel like there was a kernel of a good thing in there, or do you think it was just garbage through?
I thought it started off like okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the beginning was bad. I didn't really like them as like, what are they in college, right?
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be.
Doom's
like,
not though,
they're
right?
supposed to
Doom
be, like,
looks
fresh
like
out of
he's
high
like
school.
30.
Well,
like,
they all look like they're 30.
Well, okay, but like I can believe Michael B. Jordan and Kate Mara and Miles Teller
Yeah,
as Cal, but the guy who plays Doom, I can't.
yeah. Toby Kebbell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole kind of like I didn't really like how they kind of I don't know, I didn't really like how they got their powers either. Like I didn't like how they came back and it was the explosion that got Kate Mara.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, they're all going together, but it's like she stayed back and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
The one guy I don't know his name. Oh, the other thing that I thought was just kind of odd, and this might be a comic book thing, but in the comics at all, is Sue Storm ever the foster or the stepdaughter or what? Not stepdaughter, but like, is she adopted ever in?
No, that
the
was
comics?
just like something that they did.
I didn't
with this.
understand the point though. There was no like.
Well, I think it was just because they wanted to make one of the. If I want to say it practically, they wanted to make one of the team a person of color, but then realized that they're all supposed to be a family, and making Ben Grimm doesn't really matter if you make him a person of color.
Yeah.
Besides like the first 20 minutes. So I think they were like, all right, let's make it Johnny Storm. And then they were like, well, probably didn't want to make Sue Storm and Reed Richards not white because that's how Hollywood thinks. That's probably why.
Okay. I thought.
Like, what do you mean?
I thought the CG too for.
Oh, yeah.
For
The Thing?
well, the thing, but
Mr. Fantastic?
no. Michael B. Jordan. I thought
Human
his.
Torch?
Yeah, Human Torch. I thought his CG was not good.
Yeah.
So that was a solid 1.5 stars for me.
Oof.
And lastly, I saw Anything Goes, the Tony Award-winning musical, multi-Tony Award-winning musical at Regal. Never seen him before, never heard of it. Danielle wanted to go see it, and I was like, you know what? You sit through stuff that you don't want to. You come with me to watch stuff that you don't want to see, so I'll come with you. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. My first exposure to Sutton Foster, never seen her or anything. I could see why she's won 6 Emmys, I think it was.
Not a 6 big Tonys. Not a big Bunheads fan?
No idea what that was. When you said that at the stand, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Good show.
I just looked it up on IMDb. I was like, oh, there it is next to her name. And that was really good. And other than that, I've just been binging the hell out of Daredevil. Finally finished. It was kind of bittersweet because I'll tell you what, if you haven't watched it, that's a good show. Very good show.
Very good. Absolutely. I can absolutely concur. I love that show so much, and we'll like we kind of said, we'll talk about it a little bit later on in the show. Yeah, I mean, I've been mainly watching, like, I watched a couple of things. So the last thing I had to watch for the Oscars was King Richard. I watched that on the 25th.
Oh, yeah.
And then my roommate had her little sister over, so we ended up watching some Disney movies. So we watched Beauty and the Beast, the 2017. I think that still holds up really well. I think that's a really good. I think that's like a really good movie that doesn't get a lot of credit. I feel like it did kind of the Cinderella route where it like changed just enough things, and like actually some of the newer some of the added songs I think really enhanced it, and it also didn't do the mistake that some of them are doing, which is it didn't remove anything. Right. You know, it just added some stuff to it, which I think really enhanced it. And also Emma Watson's really good. Dan Stevens is really, really good as the Beast. Like, I think it has a very underrated ensemble cast in there too. And then I watched Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was very good. I gave that 3.5 stars. I didn't think it was as good as Encanto, but I think it had some really good music in it. Like, it's not a musical like Encanto is, but I mean, like, the score.
Mm-hmm.
I think the score for Raya is really good. I liked Aquafina in it, in her role, and I thought Kelly Marie Tran was really good as like a voiceover artist as Raya. I'd like to see her, do more stuff, get more opportunities in general. But I thought that she was really, really good in it, especially as like the kind of anchoring, voice throughout the entire movie. And then I watched, obviously, of course, Encanto again. 5 stars. Great movie.
Of course.
Great movie. I gotta drink my water in a second. But other than that, what I have been doing is I have been finally, almost as soon as the Oscars were over, I was like, all right, I'm going to take a break from like watching a whole bunch of like movies and stuff for now. And I have just been throwing my head against the wall playing Grandmaster Jedi Fallen Order. I played it for about 7 hours today, I think.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
And there was a lot of yelling. That game is very, very hard on which Grandmaster is the hardest level. I don't know why I'm torturing myself like that, but that game is very hard. But it is still so good. I mean, like, I got I know this is asking a lot to go this far back in your memory because it was like 2 or 3 years ago. But like Zepho, the planet with like the force beings that like their head, like with all the like temples and stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm on right now, and with like all the like ice caves and stuff underground. I literally spent like 5 hours just on that planet today because I was just like, I'm just gonna explore every single thing that I can. And the one complaint with that game that we both had 3 years ago is still the main complaint now. For the sequel, you need to make it so that when you're looking at a certain layer on the map, the other 2 or the other 3 layers of the map go away because you cannot see anything. Like, you're trying to look, and sure, like the layer you have selected, it'll be like teal instead of like a dimmer blue or whatever. But the other ones are still there, and they're still bright blue. It's just the one you're on is even brighter, and it's like, just make those disappear. If I want to look at one layer of the map to know where the hell I'm going, like that's still the one issue that I know, that I remember we both were talking about having, back when we first played the game. But other than that one thing about the map, which is very like a small nitpick, the game is still just like so much fun. And it really like holds up for being like a 3-year-old game, which really started development almost, a decade ago, if you think about it, because, how long it took to make it. It still really holds up. It is such a fun game. Like, the level design and the puzzle design of it, like, a lot of people bring up, like, the MJ levels or, like, the puzzle aspects of, like, Spider-Man PS4 as, like, the game is fantastic.
Yeah. Except for that. It's
like Fallen Order has none of that. Like, there's no bit in Fallen Order that you're like, I gotta play through this part. Like, when I'm, I just learned force push like on that planet, and so when you're having to do the puzzle of force pushing the spheres around and like trying to open up the air vents to then like make the ball go up the ramp and stuff, and you have to like force stop and then force push and then force stop again to make sure that it falls into like the cradle or whatever. That stuff is like, it is so freaking fun. And then of course with Grandmaster, you have the added thing of, before you can play the puzzle, anytime you die you have to spend like 10 minutes trying to take down the freaking guard because just is so against you. But that has been a lot of fun, and I mean, I'm not even remotely close to being done with the game, and it's just, that's just the way that it is. So I am been playing that a lot. I expect to continue playing that a lot. I might start binging through a show that I will not mention here, the one that I talked to you about possibly doing, leading up to a new show coming out, or a new season of something coming out. But yeah, for now, that's basically all I've been doing. I watched like a few movies, and then since the Oscars, pretty much have just been playing Fallen Order.
I was really hyped because I thought Skywalker Saga was coming out Friday, and then I was like, oh, it's next week.
Yeah.
I got really upset. Okay, well, that'll do it for our little banter, kind of, I guess. What we've been watching and playing. Do you want to do? Let's just do news first, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to start off with. Oh, here's one right here. So Marvel's Werewolf by Night, which is the Halloween special, which will be airing this Halloween on Disney Plus. It began filming today. That's the one that's going to have Michael Giacchino as director on there. So that'll be pretty fun. We still don't have pretty much any word on casting, or really, people are calling it Werewolf by Night, but really there's been no official confirmation of anything. But, you know, you can pretty much, you know, what do they say? Dollars to donuts. That's pretty much what it's going to be, probably. So let's just start off with like the Will Smith stuff, and it was the Academy speaking with Variety. So I'll just go ahead and I'll read off some of their tweets. So starting, I'm not sure if these tweets are in order, but it's fine. I don't think it matters. So the Academy says, things unfolded in a way we could not have anticipated. While we would like to clarify that Mr. Smith, no, that's a weird way to put that. While we would like to clarify that Mr. Smith was asked to leave the ceremony and refused, we also recognize we could have handled the situation differently entirely. And then they said, you know, Mr. Rock, we apologize to you for what you experienced on our stage, and thank you for your excellence in that moment. We also apologize to our nominees, guests, and viewers that for what transpired during what should have been a celebratory event. They say that, you know, his actions were deeply shocking and traumatic to witness in person and on television. And then they said that I see. Consistent with the Academy's standards of conduct as well as California law, Mr. Smith is being provided at least 15 days notice of a vote regarding his violations and sanctions, and the opportunity to be heard beforehand by means of a written response. So that basically means they're going to wait. But they're going to wait anyways because they don't want to do anything until their next board meeting, which they say, you know, at our next board meeting on April 18th, which is basically just a little bit over the 15 days that they're giving him. The Academy may take any disciplinary action, which may include suspension, expulsion, or other sanctions.
Expulsion, jeez.
Yeah, or other sanctions permitted by the bylaws and standards of conduct. So yeah,
if you're like what's like the actual like what? There's expulsion, but how do you use it in like expel? I guess right. Yeah. Okay. Does that mean like you cannot be nominated for an Oscar?
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing on that, too, that I was watching the John Campea show a couple days ago, and Robert Meyer Burnett brought up Robert Meyer Burnett and Chris Carr, the one of the other hosts on there, brought up if there's this rule where he's ineligible for Oscars, ineligible for this or that. Mm-hmm. And I want to get your thoughts on this, and I want, you know, whoever's watching in the chat to let us know in the chat. Does that mean, like, not can he be, because he still can be. They can't control the studio system or the industry on that level. But because, honestly, whatever, you know, if it's a biopic or something like that, the movie has no shot of taking home a Best Actor Oscar with him in it. So, not can he be, but do you think will he be cast in big projects like a King Richard? Will he actually get those opportunities if, all in all, it's pointless because it cannot end with taking home an Oscar? And also, if he is expelled or suspended by the Academy, and if he's suspended, we're not talking like, he'd be suspended for a month. It's like, to make it really count for the Academy,
he would be ceremonies.
Yeah, multiple ceremonies, meaning years. So a lot of people are just throwing the number out there, but a lot of people are probably saying it would be like 3 years, probably, which is a lot of time in Hollywood. I mean, that's a long time for your career.
When you say like, would he be like, would they be hesitant to, hire him for a role if it can't? You mean just like a Best Actor role, right? Because like the film could still be up for Best Picture, it just wouldn't be Best Actor because he wouldn't be able to be nominated, right? Is that what you're saying? Yes,
exactly. Okay. But like, let's say for example, I'm just gonna use Jamie Foxx as an example. Let's say there's a role that it's perfect for Will Smith. Well, the movie may win Best Picture, the movie may win Best Director, but it has no shot of winning Best Actor if you choose Will Smith. But let's say you cast Jamie Foxx or John Boyega or Daniel Kaluuya or anyone, or I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be a African American man. It just, it could be anyone. I'm just saying, if you take the exact same role, the point is, whether it's Best Actor or any of the other awards, the movie is not eligible for every single Oscar if they cast Will Smith.
Right.
And I know that's like, well, yeah, but they're still, they still get Best Picture.
That's what I was thinking.
But at the same time, the studio is going to look at it as, well, why would we spend all this money on something that can't even qualify for every Oscar?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I think. But what do you think?
I think that's a possibility. I mean,
he could just do a ton of After Earths.
But that's just like, that's almost like, I hate to say it, but that's almost like blackballing people like from working on movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because,
Well, but I mean, he would have done it to himself.
I get that, but I think it's like this like tough argument between like, yeah, he did this and he, was suspended. If they choose to suspend him for however long, like, does that mean he's not allowed to work? Like on, you know what I mean?
No, well, if SAG suspended him,
that
is exactly what that would mean.
Yeah.
If SAG suspended him, it means he would not be able to work on any SAG set, which is pretty much everything. So like, if I asked you, would you say, just off the top of your head, right now, would you say that Johnny Depp is blacklisted in Hollywood? Yes or no?
Oh man, you said off the top of my head, so I can't even think about it. I'm gonna say no.
If that sort of thing were to happen, I think he would just be in like a Johnny Depp position, where it's like he's doing independent movies that nobody's really watching.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not getting paid. It's not like he's not. It's just I personally, I think he will still work.
Yeah.
I just don't see any big studios putting money behind a Will Smith production.
Now let me just say, like, for the reason I say no is because I feel like him being taken out of Fantastic Beasts was a particular situation.
Yeah.
With everything, that was going around. Whether you believe, whichever side, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I think it'd probably be the same. Well, obviously to a lesser degree, I'd probably have to say. Granted, he still did assault Chris Rock, so it's like, I don't know, but
that's the tricky part, which we'll talk about later. We'll definitely be talking Johnny Depp in a little bit here, with his Crimes of Grindelwald co-star making the news. But like Will Smith verifiably did this. Like even Johnny Depp did. Most likely, was there abuse in that relationship? Most likely on both ends, yes. But even that, with Johnny Depp perpetrating abuse and Amber Heard perpetrating abuse, both sides is still he said, she said.
Right.
Like, obviously courts ruled in a civil court, against him and stuff. And there's still cases out against her and stuff, and that's a whole murky situation. But it's like, even that, on both ends of it, nothing's really been concretely proven.
Right.
Whereas like Will Smith, like it happened on the world's biggest stage, and then with the other person we'll talk about in a little bit, that definitely happened because there's police record involved in that one. But I think just taking Johnny Depp like as the best, as the most recent like best, example of it or whatever, I think that's probably what it'll end up being. Is like he's not gonna get any huge like Gemini Man, like he's not gonna get any big action thing. Big? Well, I mean that's probably the last big action thing.
I guess,
did.
yeah. Not very
like,
successful, but
yeah, and it's like I feel bad, but it's like that's what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, why do people make movies? Yes, because they love the art of film. Why do people make like Oscar baity movies though? To get Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
And if your main star is not just doesn't have a good shot because he's bad or something, he is ineligible from getting Oscars. I think that's a decision.
And you're getting more work. You got Oscar nominee, Oscar winner next to your name. You're getting more work.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. I think the whole thing's, I think it's just going to end with, I think anything about like, taking his Oscar away is,
I think that's
no way. No way at this point.
I would be shocked if they do that.
And because it's just like, it comes down to the simple fact of like, he did, all this career before that one moment, as terrible and as stupid as that one moment was, he did all the work before that one moment. They looked at all the, performances, and at that time when the voting closed, they chose Will Smith as best actor. So it's like, you can't undo that just because of the moment. But I would be very shocked if they actually expelled him from the Academy, but I feel like that is surprising. I feel like that is on the table. I mean, I feel like the Academy at this point, because I think two things happened. They're pissed that it happened, and they're pissed at how bad they look for how they handled it.
Yeah.
So
I feel like they're still trying to I mean, not as bad as the Hollywood Foreign Press, where it's like they're trying to like rebuild their image. Yeah, the Academy is still trying to rebuild their image, I feel like, in some way.
And I feel like they're going to kind of throw the book at him.
And they were kind of going like this, and now it's like, boom.
Yeah. And I feel like, I really feel like they're gonna kind of make an example out of him.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, sorry, Will Smith, sorry that you're the person that it probably is going to end up being made an example of, but you brought it upon yourself. I mean, it's like, what can you really say? But I think all likelihood, if I had to put money on it, I would say he's probably going to be suspended for a few years. Which, that's fair, I think. I think that's I think that's completely fair punishment. Now, honestly, I think the bigger thing that Will Smith has to worry about is SAG, because as I messaged you, people have pointed out, Chris Rock was at work. Like, he was on a set. Like, all presenters, they're paid by SAG, to present at the Oscars. It's a role, it's a part, it's a job that they're on. There's a reason that people still get credited on IMDb as self. That's a job. If you have an interview with Diane Sawyer, you're getting paid for it. You know what I mean? Like, and so the fact that he was working while it happened, and Will Smith is also a member of SAG, so it's like, well, if you take it on, if you kind of strip it, scale it all the way down, well, what do you do if somebody who, what do you do if one of your employees strikes another one of your employees, while one of them's at work?
Yeah.
That's a whole other issue, and that SAG is going to have to figure out. Because if Chris, thankfully, he wasn't injured at all, other than, probably like a bruise or something, or I don't know, just soreness. But, if he had been injured at all, like if he had like used his nails or something, or if he had punched him. Yeah. Then you get the insurance involved, and that's the Academy's insurance, the Dolby Theater's insurance, SAG insurance. Like, that's a workers' comp case for Chris Rock. Like, I mean, it's like there's all these legal troubles too that you're like, I feel like, and me included, like when you see, oh, Chris Rock, decided not to pursue charges, and I feel like you're like, oh, okay, well, then he's just gotta worry about what the Academy is gonna do. But it's like there are a lot of other bodies involved with this for who people are working for, where they were, the event that they're at, so I feel like there's gonna be a lot of fallout from this one stupid moment that he chose to do. But I feel like there's gonna be a lot of fallout probably for the next couple of months before we hear all the repercussions that there may or may not be. But yeah, it's just wild. What do you think about it?
No, I echo everything you said. I think it'd be interesting to see, kind of how this plays out in the few next coming, weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've definitely gotten like a mixed reaction from everybody that was there.
Yeah.
There's the handful of people that are like on his side. There are a lot of people. I think the majority is on Chris Rock's side. But I'm interested to see kind of what happens. Again, if he gets his Oscar taken away, I will be shocked. If he is expelled from the Academy, I will be shocked. I wouldn't be surprised with like what you said, like a 3-year suspension maybe. Which again makes sense because it's not like there's 50 ceremonies a year. It's one ceremony per year, and then you're taking out all the work that he's done for that particular calendar year for being in consideration.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, because you figure somebody like, Will Smith or like Nick Cage or something, they're doing 2, 3, 4 movies a year, and it's like they're not all going for Oscars, but it's like somebody like Will Smith, he works. He puts out, a high volume of stuff. I think, it's really just going to depend. And it's like maybe he goes to TV or maybe he finds the cracks that he can still do stuff in for the time being. But in chat, just wanted to say Michelle said directors and producers may keep him out of their films, but they would not admit that part of their thought process for a film is Oscar noms. And she said he could do Independence Day 14. And then she said, I think expulsion is what will happen, honestly. They looked as bad at the Academy as Will did. Yeah, I agree. I think I still don't know which way it's gonna go. I think suspension is likely. I'm surprised to even say to myself, I do think that expulsion is on the table. I mean, the Academy said as much themselves, but I do think there is a chance that may happen. All right, you wanna move on to the next?
Yeah.
All right. You got one or?
I do. I have none.
Okay,
I don't have any. I don't have any stories.
So the next thing I just wanted to talk about is, unfortunately, Matt Lanter was in the news because if you don't know, he's an actor that's been in a couple things. He had a role in The Mandalorian Season 1, but also mainly he is the animated voice. Well, not even just the animated voice. He is the animation, video game, everything, even like Galaxy's Edge voice of Anakin Skywalker when, Hayden isn't playing him in live action or something like that. In Clone Wars and Rebels, and is Anakin in the Bad Batch and all?
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, and then also he most recently voiced him for the Lego Star Wars game. So they finished up that work and everything, but unfortunately his wife did take it to Instagram to put out there that he had to have emergency surgery. Apparently it was something to do with like his intestinal tract or his digestive tract, so it sounds like he probably had like a hernia operation or something. And she said that he's starting to pull around from the surgery, but it's going to be a even longer, much longer still road to recovery.
Yeah.
So best of luck to him and his wife and everybody, and hopefully it'll be good. I mean, between that and Tom Kane, who is like the the Republic's in battle. Him, and he does Yoda too. Like he recently I believe he had a stroke.
Didn't he pass away?
No, he's still alive, but I believe it was a stroke at like right at the beginning of COVID, and he lost all function of his voice.
Jeez.
And it's like you're literally a voice actor.
Yeah.
Like that's like awful. But to my knowledge, the last thing I heard, I mean, he definitely is still alive. I remember the last thing I think I heard on Tom Kane was like on the Star Wars Facebook group or something. His daughter was like saying that he was starting to be able to do his signature again, to like sign autographs.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's just like I hope that he gets better and Tom Kane gets better as well. But yeah. Then another one that's slightly bigger news story is unfortunately Bruce Willis is stepping away from his career of acting, singing, and the spotlight in general because he's been diagnosed with aphasia, which is a language disorder that impacts a person's ability to communicate and understand words and language.
Wow.
So Rumor Willis posted on Instagram. She said, "To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has been recently diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him over the years. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support. We are moving through this as a strong family unit and wanted to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you, as you do to him. As Bruce always says, live it up. And together we plan to do just that."
Wow.
So yeah, I mean that's kind
of like a shock today. It was like, oh shit.
I mean that's huge. Like I remember and I think it was Chris Stuckman and Jeff Snyder or somebody. Like I remember there was a report that came out like over a year or like a year or so ago that was like Bruce Willis, struggling with like health concerns or something. It was like something very generic like that. So this has been something that has been going on for I mean I think they said that he was officially diagnosed like almost 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. And he's done stuff since then.
Yeah, because I think because it's like a debilitating thing, it's just going to get worse and worse over time. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely worked since, and he has 8 more movies coming out that are already shot and done. But in terms of production and stuff, I think he's done already. Mm-hmm. Like I think he's already cutting himself off from everything. But I mean, yeah, I mean that's a huge loss. I mean, you hate to say it, but it's almost like it's almost like they pass away. It's like same thing. We weren't alive for it, but like somebody like Christopher Reeves, like when he had his accident, it's like it's Superman, and you're telling me that he can't act or walk or use his body at all. It's like it's like it just feels so wrong, and it's like say what you will about his career in the last few years, whatever, but at this point it's just like
still man loved to work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Nick Cage recently where he's like, right. I did a bunch of shit, but I never
John Travolta.
Yeah,
he just likes to act. Like he likes to make movies.
He just likes doing it. But yeah, I mean that's very heartbreaking and sad for Bruce Willis. What would you say is your favorite Bruce Willis?
I think it's
character?
Die Hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say probably either Die Hard or like David Dunn, like Unbreakable.
Oh,
is probably really good. But even something like old school Bruce Willis with hair, like Death Becomes Her with him and Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep. Mm-hmm. It's like a zany like horror comedy from I think it was the early 90s. I don't think it was. If it was the 80s, it was definitely the late 80s, but I think it was like the early 90s. But that was a really funny movie. But yeah, obviously
Pulp Fiction.
Obviously Pulp Fiction, yeah. Pulp Fiction and Die Hard, obviously, and even something like the Expendables type thing. He popped up in there, and he's been in a ton of stuff. I mean, he has like over 100 film credits, not even just normal credits, like including TV and other things.
Right.
Has been in over 100 films, which is huge. But yeah, I mean, our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family and everything, and hope that he just gets the help that he needs and can live a happy rest of his life, whatever he's got to do for himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, damn, I mean, that's very, very sudden and very unexpected there. All right, so next up, do you want to go to Ezra Miller, or do you want to talk about something positive?
Let's do positive first.
Positive. Okay. So, it still has kind of to do with Ezra Miller.
Okay.
But nothing mentions Ezra Miller, if that's good. So the London premiere for Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore was today, and there was a press screening for the movie in LA yesterday, where a handful of critics, say a handful, like 100, but critics got to actually sit down and finally see it, which again, we'll actually talk about a little bit later with Morbius, the opposite, that the critics basically got to see it a few days ago, and the review embargo is up 24 hours in advance of the...
I thought it was like tomorrow at like 1 p.m.
No, it's...
okay.
It was actually 45 minutes ago.
Oh.
It was Wednesday at 8.
All right. Well.
So if you wanna pull up some things there, but we do have the first reactions to Fantastic Beasts, which, like I was saying, compared to Morbius, this is a great sign. I mean, Fantastic Beasts is over 2 weeks away. We had a big critics screening, and they're being allowed to tweet reactions to it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the reactions, you can kind of see why. And this is great for me because, as I've said, I love the Harry Potter franchise. I've been, fool me once, fool me twice by the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but I really was holding out hope that things could turn around with Mads Mikkelsen, and it seems like they are. Now you could get critics screenings that people will say, oh gosh, I'm like losing my train of thought. People will say with like Rise of Skywalker and stuff that sometimes when they come fresh out of the screenings, it isn't the most reliable because some people will be like, oh, it was great, but then like later on they'll be like,
Surely this number is not correct.
What?
There's a tweet that said the Morbius Rotten Tomatoes score debuted as 0.
You should check that.
No. It's, okay, that was
what
a Photoshop. It's 27% with 11 reviews so far. That was Photoshop.
Boy.
I believed it for a second.
I mean, still though, 27 is not good. But let's start off with Perry Nemiroff says Secrets of Dumbledore is a big bounce back for the Fantastic Beasts series for me. Back to enjoying the group dynamic and caring about the main mission. A little thin here and there, but a far more engaging ride than the last. Dan Fogler continues to be a favorite, and the Niffler. Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of... This is by Ian Sandwell. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore is an improvement on the sequel, even if it only fleetingly recaptures the magic. Mads Mikkelsen is a huge upgrade, but the MVP is Jessica Williams Lally, who I believe is the new character. I believe she's the teacher, the one that's with Jacob in the trailer, the one that like puts him in a suit and is like.
What about the beast count? Is there more beasts?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I thought the next sentence he was going to actually say that, but he was just referring to it as Beast. He says, it's just overstuffed and unsure if it's a Beast film or a Harry Potter film.
Interesting. Okay.
Honestly, I'm fine if that's the worst thing you can say about the movie, about it feeling A, overstuffed, and B, not knowing whether it's Fantastic Beasts or a Harry Potter film, because it's not a Fantastic Beasts movie, it's not a Harry Potter film, it's a Wizarding World film.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like they are the same series.
Is this April 15th? Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to rewatch both of them. I think
Yeah. Before. Oh yeah. I'll definitely try to get those down, especially because they're on HBO Max. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, if somebody's saying that it's overstuffed, that is fine by me, because if anything, the first two feel a little understuffed. You know, it feels like a big complaint for the second one, especially, I would think, is not really much happened. They talk to Dumbledore. He's like, I can't fight. And then Grindelwald gives a speech. Some people die, and then the movie ends. And they form a big ring around a cemetery.
They do that, yep.
Then that's basically what happens in the movie. So if we get a lot of story and a lot of action and stuff in this, fine by me. Get it, cram it with whatever you need to get it back on track. And that sounds like what it is. Then we have Zandra Harbert says Secrets of Dumbledore is a magical menagerie of homages to the Harry Potter films, boasting a new slate of wondrous creatures and epic mythos. Fantastic Beasts 3 rectifies fans' biggest qualms with Fantastic Beasts 2, offering answers, groundbreaking moments, and epic battles.
Wow.
In this love letter to misfits. Wow.
Huh.
And then this one is good for me because it speaks directly on the story and the script. So this is from Griffin Schiller, who says Steve Kloves miraculously salvages a sinking ship with Fantastic Beasts 3, but it doesn't fully fix the larger issues with the series. Still, by far the best of the three. The series feels fun again. The layers of Dumbledore are peeled back and explored in interesting ways. Had a great time. So, yeah, I mean, by all accounts, there's a lot more tweets that you can look up on Twitter and everything, because that's pretty much what they did is social media reactions. So there's a lot more that you guys can look up. But overall, I mean, pretty positive. I mean, like we said, really only two kind of criticisms here are just it does a lot to steer things in the right direction, but, it can't get everything, just because I feel like it did lose its footing. It did kind of go off the rails in such a way. But to hear that it is a massive, not even just a massive course correction, because I feel like that almost sounds negative, just the fact that it's a massive leap in the right direction for this franchise gives me hope for this movie, and it gives me hope for
the rest
4
of
and
them.
5.
Yeah.
If it is like they originally said, 5. Yeah, if it is like they originally said, a 5-part series, that's awesome, because it means, okay, the first two, you kind of were, the first one's enjoyable. It's not great, but it's enjoyable. Second one for me lost its footing pretty well. But if we can look back on this, in 2030, and be like, the first two, say what you will about them, but they really got it back and they really ended strong, then I think people will look back on this, series very, very well. So, let's hope that we agree with these reactions, that we enjoy it, and let's hope that it can, continue for the rest of it. But what do you think?
No, I agree with everything you said. I'm more excited just to read some of these quick Morbius reactions to you.
Yeah. Because they all are these the new ones? Like,
they're most of them are like the ones I pulled up are like like quick like tweets, and then it's like, oh, read why on this website. So, but Dan has like a review. I just want to read some of these for you. Also, for those of you who don't know, which you probably do at this point, they allowed the director to do a Q&A and talk about the post-credit scenes. And just spoil the post-credit scenes, which it makes absolutely no sense to me. And apparently, if you've been reading Twitter, the reviews or whatever lately, they're bad. It's bad. The movie's bad.
I'll tell you right now, I have watched both post-credit scenes.
I saw one on TikTok. I swiped through quick. I already know what happens, but I just moved past it because I didn't want to see it. So quick excerpt from Vanity Fair said, Morbius is all better for its literary flair and gothic bite. Okay, that's just quick Vanity Fair. Then they link to their article.
That's like,
it's like a flop. Okay, so this is Dan Murrell's tweet. Dan Murrell said, Morbius is a reminder of what many comic book movies were before the MCU. Sloppy, poorly executed, and sure to disappoint fans of the comics. It also contains the worst attempt at universe building in the modern era. Full review later tonight, but it's bad.
Lines up with a lot of what we were hearing from the kind of the leaked reviews and stuff too.
The quick Nerdist thing said, after many delays, Morbius is finally here and probably should have stayed delayed.
Oh, there you go.
So that's not very good.
We actually lost the file, so we're actually not. No, I mean
we're not.
Oh. Yeah, we actually.
I never being serious.
No, like Sony just. Yeah, I don't know. Dale had it on a hard drive and then put it on a bus, and I don't know where it went.
Right.
Can't release it.
This person. I'm just making sure like that they like saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
there's an actual one.
Let's see if I can find another one.
I'm sure
there's not many on this.
Oh,
on this
I will.
Top,
okay, if you look it up by people. Look up. We'll look up latest, because it's probably
that's what I did, but it was like
look up like people. Look up Campia and stuff because they all saw it.
Oh, okay.
But I will answer chat from Michelle just said, I wonder how Matt Smith is in it. In all the reactions,
Everybody
in all the quick reviews,
the best part of it,
they say that
right?
Matt Smith is the best part of it. And specifically, Michelle, for you, one of them said he's basically playing, and for any Doctor Who fan watching this, there's an episode where the Doctor kind of gets split and plays a chess game against himself, and it's kind of like the main Doctor and then like an evil version of him. They said he's basically just playing that like evil version of him from the Cyberman chess game in this movie. That he's basically just playing the Doctor but an evil version of it. And I'm like, okay, if that's the case, sign me up for it, because Matt Smith is fantastic. Matt Smith has also been very funny on the interview train. Like when somebody was like, well, how did you connect to the character and how did you feel? And he was like, don't really know. I think I have the same power. He literally said, I don't know. I think I have the same powers as Morbius, but he was like, they didn't really give me a backstory or anything. He was like, I just basically used what was in the script. And I was like, Jesus.
This other one is from Christian.
Mm-hmm.
His quick thing like in do his YouTube video. He said, I saw Morbius. Not the best, but I didn't mind watching it. I feel like I was watching a movie from late 90s, early thousands. Maybe that is Sony's thing now. Leto was trying, same with rest of cast, but to me, Adria Arjona was the standout. That's all.
Adria Arjona?
I'm not sure. That's all I have for now. If I see another one that's really ridiculous, I'll pop in and say it. But so not good. Apparently, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean,
I know a lot of people
terrible.
are excited for it, but
where'd it go? Hashtag Morbius. I think the algorithm has me covered. Hang on. All right, we got William Bibiani.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh God. Morbius is the worst Marvel superhero movie in a long time.
Jeez.
Mostly inert, sometimes laughable, and the scene where someone tries to summon a cat by shaking their litter box, only to assume the cat is gone when that doesn't work, is the weirdest thing I've seen in years.
Oh, what? Okay, so
what?
Real quick, can you explain to me? And this was a few weeks ago, I think. The whole like they took Spider-Man out of the movie, right? Wasn't that like a
Spider-Man wasn't
something?
in it. It was like the mural.
Remember they took that out.
Yeah, remember he walks past the thing.
Yeah, I just looked at the GIF.
Yeah, and people are. That's actually in the thumbnail of today's episode.
Wonder why they did like.
They just cut all the world building
weird.
out of the movie and then reshot the end credits, which some actually.
Oh, they reshot the end credits.
Well, yeah, because remember in the trailers, it's all like they meet at like a van.
Oh, yeah. What's
remember?
up, Doc? Yeah.
What's up,
okay.
Doc? Yeah, like they meet at like a van. And in this, it's like totally different. But apparently they couldn't even get Michael Keaton back physically for one of them, because in the second one, when he's actually, spoilers by the way for Morbius, if anyone cares, I don't, if I'm being honest, I don't really think you should care. I genuinely mean that. Like, I really feel like I'm not.
I don't think there'll be a Morbius 2.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm not doing a disservice to anybody that might be watching this video, either live or on the replay. So, spoilers for Morbius real quick. In the second post-credit scene, when Vulture's actually in the Vulture suit, I watched both of them. he never takes the helmet off or anything. It's just a voiceover for Michael Keaton. So I don't even think they got him in.
Okay.
Like I don't even think that he was actually in it.
Yeah.
Because it sounded. I mean, it was on a cell phone, so take it for what it is. But it sounded very like ADR. Like it didn't even sound mixed properly. It just sounded like it was overlaid on top of it, which is like, what the like? I mean, if you're not even gonna try, I get it. Like Sony is not known for having great stories,
and this is why the Spider-Man property works better with the collaborative effort of both Marvel and Sony, and not just Sony.
Yeah, I would say not just Sony and not just Marvel, because I feel like they make a good there's a good synergy with those three films. So keep up that. But when Kevin Feige's not involved, I don't know, man. It just seems like something's a little screwy there. But yeah, this is Russ Milheim. Hashtag Morbius is not good. None of the story sticks, and because of it, everything else falls apart. Questionable writing is rampant, and the third act is nonsense. Also, the 2 post-credit scenes are insulting. I'm convinced that the second was literally written by a 6-year-old. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Like I said, I have seen the post-credit scenes. The second one, maybe not a 6-year-old, but I feel like it was written very quickly in maybe a text message. Because, can I say, is that the one that you saw?
I didn't. I read what happens in both of them. I didn't see that.
Do you think it'd be okay if I said a line really quick?
Yeah, I mean, spoiler for Morbius post-credit.
Yeah. So, and also, by the way, I'm going to say this line. So did the director of the film 5 days ago on Twitter. Vulture literally goes, he goes, I don't know. Something happened. Now I'm here. Think it had something to do with Spider-Man. What say a guy like you and a guy like me team up and we can do some good? And then Morbius goes, I like the sound of that. That's literally.
I don't and I said this to you when we were talking.
How do you know it has something to do with Spider-Man?
It's not even that, but you're like, we ended off Homecoming with him refusing to tell Scorpion who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, like literally protecting Peter. But okay, now we're gonna team up. And
I also said Morbius, isn't he like an anti-hero, not a villain?
No, exactly. And it's like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Venom's an anti-hero, and him and Spider-Man beef, but like.
Exactly, but
Morbius, I don't think Sinister sticks when I think Morbius.
But the thing is, like, he says, I think it had something to do with. He says, I think it had something to do with Spider-Man. First of all, how would you have any idea? Because you had no clue why you're here. We have no confirmation as a fan base that there is a Spider-Man. Actually, let me reverse that. In films that have been released, we actually have confirmation that there is no Spider-Man, because if Eddie Brock lived in New York for 20 years before moving to San Francisco, and then in the end of No Way Home was asking who Spider-Man is, I really hope that there isn't a Spider-Man, because then is Eddie Brock just the worst reporter in the world?
I guess.
He didn't pick up that there was a superhero in the city that he lived in? Like, they literally said in No Way Home, Eddie Brock goes, now who's this Spider-Man character? But now they're like, well, there is a Spider-Man in the Venomverse, and it will be revealed very soon. How? What? So my point is, when Vulture says, I think Spider-Man had something to do with it, Morbius just goes like, like,
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, like, not like, who's Spider-Man? Yeah. Like, what do you... It's just... They don't even know what they're doing. Like, they just don't know what they're doing.
I can tell you right now, maybe, I don't know.
Period.
I don't know, together we're going to see it, but we're going to see it, and we're going to review it for you all, so you'll probably be able to hear our many, many criticisms. All right. You want to move on to Ezra Miller? Mm-hmm. And then we can get into... is that the last one you had? The last story, or did you have more than that? I mean, unless you want to cut the other ones. I don't know.
Oh, last story?
Yeah.
No, I have a lot more stories.
Okay.
But I just wanted to read one last from Roxy Stryer.
Okay.
She said, absolutely zero rules. Morbius has no rules. It was like, does this look cool? Yeah, buddy. Does it make sense? Who cares? I enjoyed some of it. I liked Matt Smith. He was groovy. Jared Leto is better in this than We Crashed, which I agree with. I tried to watch the first episode of We Crashed, and that was not a good show. And she said that post-credit scene was shoehorned the F in. Wow.
Great.
And then I just want to add, too, William Bibiani felt that he followed up with a second tweet. I have never, in my entire life, seen someone try to summon a cat by shaking its litter box. It's like nobody who made Morbius had any idea about how having a cat works. Something's
I
going
need to
on
see
with
this. I need to see this litter
I just
box.
like that,
scene.
like somebody like, you know, prolific film critic William Bibiani is just focused on this like one scene with a kitty litter box, which is really letting down movies with pivotal, you know, lines about kitty litter boxes. The only other one that I know of being Deadpool 2, Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2. I think Deadpool 1, when he says that he's gonna take a shit in the guy's kitty litter box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, the last thing I really want to touch... Oh, okay, hang on. Actually, a few quick ones, and then the last big one we'll touch on is I feel like we have to talk about Ezra Miller, because that's... Something's got to happen with that. But, some cool news. Elliot Page and Netflix have both revealed and announced that in Season 3 of Umbrella Academy that previously Vanya Hargraves will come out as transgender, and he will be now Victor Hargraves.
Oh, okay.
With first image being revealed.
It's just them sitting at a bar, right, or something?
Yeah. It just looks like Elliot. It looks like Vanya with short hair and as a guy.
Cool.
So, awesome. So that'll be cool. I'm excited to see if that just kind of happens or if it's more of a an arc. Because Elliot Page has said that Vanya is still going to be a character in Season 3. So I'm thinking maybe she starts out as Vanya and then makes the transition throughout the season or something like that. That'll be cool to see. Bob Chapek's recent poor handling of the Don't Say Gay bill has led to distrust within many at Disney. One concrete example includes a cartoon hanging in the production offices of The Simpsons, which has Chapek listed in the in memoriam section of the Oscars.
Wow.
So just touching briefly on the story from last week, not going well over at Disney. When
he was at the Oscars, and I heard you booed him.
I did. I did. Yes, they showed him, and also like
he looked around. He said, "Somebody somewhere just booed me."
You figure how much he probably paid for that seat to get. You know, he got the night, like if you in a movie theater when you have the specifically at like a Regal around here, when you're in like the front row, so you have like the little wall there.
Yeah.
You know, that's where he was.
That's
sitting
where
at the
it was.
Oscars.
Yeah.
He had the little wall in front of him, and he was like leaning on it, and I was like, I was booing, but in my brain I was like, he's like leaning on the wall at the Oscars. You'd be in the back, like you know what I mean. Like he should be. You know, actually, you should be at work. If I'm being honest, you should be at work. Your company is falling apart because of you. Other reasons too, but because of you. Ugh, I hate that guy so much.
Love Disney.
Love Disney. Love him. House of the Dragon. Speaking of Matt Smith, House of the Dragon.
Forgot about this. Yeah.
Will House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings of Power will both premiere within 2 weeks of each other. House of the Dragon is set to make its debut on August 21st on HBO Max. Which for me is sooner than I would have thought.
Oh yeah.
I thought that we were looking at maybe like holiday.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, if we're literally talking 4 months, like 4-ish months from now, I mean, awesome. And then of course, Rings of Power is going to be coming out on September 2nd. So yeah, very, very close to each other.
I'm interested to see if this spinoff can capture the culture like it did. get like Game of Thrones.
I read a tweet the other day that just said if George Lucas hadn't sold Star Wars to Disney, the last season of Game of Thrones would have been good. And it's true.
Yeah. Damn.
If you don't know why, look it up. Okay, and then let's just cap off with Ezra Miller finds himself in the news for not good reasons again. So let's lay out the facts. So Ezra Miller was arrested for disorderly conduct and harassment in Honolulu, Hawaii over the weekend. It actually was while he was
real quick, Daniel just pointed something out. Our thing says Oscars recap on the bottom. So unfortunate graphic mistake.
Let's see.
Small error. But yeah, Ezra Miller.
So
fortunately in the news again.
Yeah, so that happened, and then also.
Boom! Look at that.
So that happened, and basically, so apparently Miller allegedly yelled obscenities and became agitated when people began singing at a karaoke bar, which is what you do at a karaoke bar. He then grabbed the microphone from a woman and later lunged at a man playing darts for trying to calm him down. And then also apparently the bartenders and everybody working there tried to calm him down and stuff. And then he got belligerent, and then the employees are who called the police and then filed everything against him. And then not only that, from yesterday, then today we found out that, which I didn't realize that Ezra Miller was like living in Hawaii. That I don't know, but apparently 2 Hawaiian residents have filed restraining orders again. These are 2 different people, not the same thing. 2 Hawaii residents have filed restraining orders against Ezra Miller for harassing and threatening them. Miller allegedly burst into the bedroom of the petitioners and threatened the male victim, saying, "I will bury you and your slut of a wife." So I don't know if he knows them or if he broke into their home or what, but mainly the thing that I want to talk about, and the thing, if anybody in, watching wants to say, or, Danielle or Michelle or anybody who's out there watching, let us know your take on this. But basically, we talked about Will Smith and Johnny Depp at the top of the episode. Will Smith is facing all of this for slapping, assault. Whether it's a slap, whether it's a what, assaulting someone. Johnny Depp is facing everything that he's going through for allegedly assaulting someone. Allegedly, like we said earlier, the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, both sides, are still just allegedly. This is, and then also for context, 3 years ago, a video went around of Ezra Miller basically, I would say choke slamming, but it wasn't that strong. It was just, but he put his hand on a woman's neck and then forced her to the ground. Basically, I guess is the best way to put that.
Weird.
Very weird. And then he was like, "Oh, she was a fan. It was a whatever the hell that was." So this is a pattern. This is a established pattern with this guy, and Warner Brothers.
How long for them to say anything? Do you think over under?
Oh, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
On the first thing or this?
This.
Oh,
they didn't say anything about the first thing.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So for the first thing, Warner Brothers didn't mention it, didn't put out a press release, didn't do anything. They just, which you better know they knew it behind closed doors, which means the conversation must have taken place of we're not going to say anything. Just let it go, and just let it go is what leads to it happening again, which is what just happened. And so they better, to answer your question, they better say something soon, because who's going to be the 4th person that Ezra Miller tries to attack? What if he actually does get, not that he hasn't been violent. I mean, all 3 of these things are violent, but I mean, what if he genuinely tries to hurt someone and you're just telling him that he can get away with it? Right. And by you, I mean, Warner Brothers, the police. I mean, they set granted, it's not like he was hitting somebody over the head with a club or something. They set the bail at $500 in Hawaii, so it was it was not a huge thing. Like, he didn't hit anyone, like, in the face or anything. He wasn't like that, but he is breaking the law, threatening people, hurting people, and, they have to say something. And I get it. He's a big character in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but you know who else was a big character in the Fantastic Beasts franchise? The person that one of the movies was named after, and you replaced him.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that you can't, first of all, in my opinion, you could just write Credence out of it, because what is even the point of that character?
It's a cousin, right? Is that what it was?
He's supposed
Cousin
to be.
of Dumbledore,
No, he's supposed to be his brother.
Brother.
Even though that doesn't make any sense. His mother was dead, and his father was in Azkaban at the time that he would have had to have been born. But anyways, but we also have Professor McGonagall being alive teaching 20 years before she's supposed to be born in these movies. So, they're
Magic.
They're playing fast and loose with it. But that being said, just write him out of that. The bigger problem is the $400 million elephant in the room of the Flash, where he is, not only the face of it, he is multiple faces of it. He is Barry Allen. He is an alternate version of Barry Allen. He's kind of the linchpin of this that is bringing Michael Keaton's Batman back. Like, there's so much riding on that, and I get it. It's a hard thing. Like, what do you do in that situation? But you can't just say, well, we stand to lose a bunch of money if we fire him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's literally a criminal. Like, what? Like, you literally fired, Johnny Depp for honestly, even if the Johnny Depp stuff, is proven to be true, this is arguably worse stuff, because this is he just seemingly picks physical fights with strangers, screams at them, makes them, feel like, and also apparently he threw the, like, do you know who I am thing out there. So it really seems like a great guy. But what do you do? I mean, if you're Warner Brothers, what do you do in this situation? And then you're
I think you got
until they say something.
I think you got to recast. You got to deal with it.
But what do you do with the Flash? Already shot. Do you?
You have to put it out. You can't just can it. Like, that's how much
Well,
money
I'm
that
saying,
just be at all. Like,
do you say, well, like, in for a penny, in for a pound? Do you do a replacement? Like a CG replacement?
That's just so much money.
I know, but also
we're about making money here at Warner Brothers. Okay,
but also
we ain't trying to do that.
How much does the movie stand to make if he's in it? If people just refuse to go see it because of him?
Here's it, like, I wish there was some sort of metric that you could see with, like, a troubled actor, in previous years, and they've had controversy surrounding them, and they've already had a movie that's coming out. I want the metric of how many people that actually affects of them going to see it.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling that it's not everybody is, like, plugged in. You know what I mean? Like, so I there's probably a decent amount of people that have no idea that this is a thing, and they're going to see The Flash anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's a Flash movie. So, like, I think this could come out in the next few weeks, and it still be. And by the way, when does The Flash come out? Later this year, right?
It got pushed to 2023.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. So, I mean, they have time to do something.
But even that, like, when it comes out in 2023, how many people are going to say, oh, remember when Ezra Miller did that thing a year ago?
Yeah, but, I mean, look at us right now. I mean, before this was happening.
But we follow this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
True.
there's people that like The Flash and like DC and everything that have no idea who Ezra Miller is and are going to see the movie anyway. That's just the way I'm thinking, is, like, just probably like a regular consumer. It's just like, yeah, I'll go see the Flash movie because the new Flash movie got Michael Keaton, and all this other stuff. Like, but again, you have to put the movie out. I don't think you do this whole CG replacement. Who did they replace? Because you mentioned this the other day. Who did they replace in Army of the Dead? Who was that again?
They replaced Chris D'Elia with
right.
Tig Notaro.
So, okay, that's what that was. Right. Okay. The helicopter pilot.
The helicopter pilot. Yeah.
Um,
The helicopter pilot.
Um, But Warner Brothers, I feel like you gotta say something within a week, right?
I feel like they
Like all
should've
you
said
have to
something
say
already.
is like
I
we're
just-
waiting for more information. Like we're keeping an eye.
Yeah.
You just have to acknowledge it.
Like, I just checked because the first thing, like the thing a few years ago, that basically went viral. And, you know, some places picked it up as a news story,
Yeah.
like some smaller places. But I just specifically typed into Twitter Ezra Miller Variety. And Variety, Deadline, and THR have all run banner stories on this one. And that's a big difference, is that the other one went viral, yes, but was not picked up by the major trades, was not made a big deal in the press. This one, you know, Variety has 4 articles on it already. So it's like, that's harder for Warner Brothers to ignore. If Variety and THR and everybody are reporting on this, and not just reporting on it, but putting out multiple articles. I mean, Variety has one titled, "What is Warner Brothers going to do with The Flash?" I mean, that's a big article for Variety to put out. I mean, that's going to have a lot of eyeballs on it. Honestly, if I'm Warner Brothers, I think you just have to put it out
I think you gotta bite the bullet.
and shelve him. You
Yeah.
know, like what they kind of do with Henry's Superman. Just recast. Just recast. I'm not saying that Henry's recast.
Henry Cavill
I
didn't
just,
do anything wrong.
No, yeah. I just mean like kind of where they're like, no, he's still around. Here's him in a shadow. Here's him from the neck down. Like, you know, it's like, you know, do that with the Flash after this movie for a little bit. Just be like, no, yeah, he's out there, and then bring him back, and it's Dylan O'Brien or something. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of. I saw somebody earlier today tweeted, they were like, you know, what pisses me off the most is that it was somebody saying like, what pisses me off the most is Barry Allen is my favorite comics character, and there are so many good, unproblematic young actors who would be able to play this part, like just as good, if not better. And it's like, yeah, it's like you're not only are you tanking the movie's potential, but you're tanking the potential to be like a great character in this universe, you know, whatever the universe ends up looking like. But you know, Barry Allen, the Flash, that's a huge DC character. That's like, you know, he's probably the one. If the top 3, you know, if the Golden Trio or whatever are Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, like Flash is probably number 4.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of what's it called? I keep wanting to say
Recognition.
Yeah. In terms of like, you know, public consciousness and everything too. Like the Flash is a very big character. But yeah, I don't know what you do with it. I don't know, but they're gonna have to figure something out, because this is like, to quote Jesse Pinkman, like he can't keep getting away with it. Like,
Yeah.
and they can't, because really their silence is enabling him. It's them saying, you know, oh, Ezra Miller attacked somebody. They say nothing. You know what that tells Ezra Miller? You can do it again and we won't say anything. You know what I mean? And that's what the message was to him 3 years ago, that nobody did anything about it. So the message loud and clear is, you can, you know, you can just keep doing it. And then look what happened, and he did it again. And these are just, also not to say that there are more, but all likelihood, like, these are just the 2 incidents we know about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about things that didn't get leaked or things that didn't get released or something. But yeah, I mean, something's got to happen. I'll chat real quick. Michelle said, Ezra Miller really is a disappointment because I love him as the Flash, but if you have Johnny Depp out from his career, this is just as bad, and we don't even know if Johnny is guilty. Yeah, I agree with that. And then everyone that saw the Snyder Cut is invested in Ezra because they made his character the center to get ready for his film upcoming. It goes out, and they see what happens at that time. I feel like you put it out, and you got to make the decision on what happens before it goes out. I mean, it's got to be, you know, it's an unfortunate situation, but like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of an example of where that's like happened before, where like somebody got recast, but the thing already went out, but they were like,
right.
You know, well, in the future. I mean, like, that happened with Terrence Howard with Rhodey, but, like, that's a minor character in what at the time was a minor movie. So it's, like, it's not as much hype. But, yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let's talk
about Daredevil for, 10, 15 minutes, and we'll get into our Moon Knight review of episode 1. So I just wanted to bring up Daredevil because I just finished it. I had to take a little break there from season 1, season 2. I took actually a long break. And then I had to take like a few day break when I moved to Disney Plus from Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Daredevil was a hell of a show. I'll tell you what. Mostly, I'll say, like, I really felt it in season 3, I'll say. I thought it got better with each season. Season 1 was good. Season 2, I thought, was better. And season 3, I thought was the best season, in my opinion.
See, that I agree with you 100%, but that is not the popular opinion.
Really?
Yeah. The popular opinion is that, like, 2 is the absolute best, and then, like, 3 is really, really good. But
season 1's, good, but it's not as good as those 2 other ones.
Yeah. But I agree with you 100%. Like, I think that season 1 is fantastic. Season 2 is exceptional, and I think that season 3 is, like, almost a perfect season of television.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah, I loved seeing John Bernthal in season 2. This is full spoilers for Daredevil. It's, how many years old.
Yeah, and you watch it on Disney Plus now. So
I love John Bernthal in there. I loved his arc with his family. I think the arc I liked the most was Karen's.
That's definitely an unpopular opinion.
What? What the hell?
She's like the most hated character.
Why?
On the show. I don't know. I don't see it, but people hate her.
I'm hoping they just bring the 3 of them back.
Yeah, I bring everybody back.
Obviously,
bring Marcy back.
Obviously, Charlie Cox is back, but
yeah, and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Who sometimes, like, when he's talking, he has a way of just, like, I don't know. He talks kind of, regularly, and then when he says something big, he, like, says it with, like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked, like, the Karen episode towards the end of season 3. I thought it was a really good episode. I liked seeing, it was kind of like a stop, but I liked seeing, where she came from finally. Like, I thought her brother burning her boyfriend's trailer down was very wild, and I like how, she was like a drug addict basically, and she turned her life around, and she's now this reporter, and I really thought that was interesting. And I was really hoping I knew it's unfortunate that I knew that he would not kill Fisk because he's obviously in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But I really wanted it. He almost did it. He was close.
He was going to.
He had his head. Although, granted, here's the thing with me, like, I didn't think it was gonna end the way it did with him, like, cutting a deal. I thought that was kind of, maybe we could have figured something better out.
Well, like I told you, like, when I was messaging you, like, they knew it was ending, but I think they left a lot of things. They didn't want to be too final with things because just in case.
Right.
And I think now more than just in case, because, like, people like Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio have said that they knew, like, they were told the Netflix shows are ending because Disney Plus is coming.
Right.
But, like, I don't know if they were specifically told because, you will be on Disney Plus.
Right.
I think they said, we knew because, Marvel was taking all their own streaming stuff back. So we knew that we had to kind of, get shuttered for a couple years. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why they did the deal. Because I think if they thought that there was no chance, I see no reason why they wouldn't have just killed him.
Is that a thing? I don't know how much Daredevil you've ever read, but because I always thought of him as, like, an anti-hero in some ways.
Who?
Daredevil. Like, I didn't know he, like, didn't kill people. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. I wouldn't say he's an anti-hero.
But, like,
he's definitely gone, like, darker.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, is that something he would do? Because I did like the whole thing where it's like, I'm going to kill him, and then...
I think as, like, if it was, like, going to be the end of this interpretation
I really want
of
him
the
to, by the way. I really want him to kill him.
Yeah, like, I think if it was going to be the end of these two interpretations of the characters, I think they would have, yeah. Because it's, like, he doesn't kill, but it's... Like, I feel like Batman, you know... Let's say the Pattinson and the comic version,
they made it really obvious he doesn't kill people.
Yeah, like that's what I mean.
It was like Marvel Spider-Man PS4 obvious.
Yeah.
Like
like they get up and scurry out of frame.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take like Pattinson and like comic Batman where he doesn't kill anybody, and he would never kill anybody. Like Batman is like he doesn't kill, and I don't think he ever would. Mm-hmm. Because people always say to him, Robin always says, you know, the different Robins, like, well, why not just the Joker? Why not just kill him?
And that's the whole thing in Dark Knight. He's like, I'm going to make you do it.
Yeah, like, why not?
I want you to kill me.
Why not just him? Just take him out and then, you know, don't kill anybody else, but just this one guy, you know, specifically I'm thinking of, like, Arkham Knight, like, with Jason, like, he literally, why won't you just do it? I feel like this version of Matt Murdock, if he was pushed far enough, which I think he was pushed far enough, I think he would do it. I think he would say, it's just him. It's just him, just this once. He is just, you know, because a lot of what season 3, well, the whole show, but season 3 especially, Matt's, you know, I feel like really when you break down the show, I think that season 1 is Matt losing faith in people. Mm-hmm. I think season 2 is Matt losing faith.
Yeah.
Just, you know, because...
I think that bleeds into the beginning of season 3, too. Yeah.
No, exactly. That's what I'm going to say. And then I think season 3 is him losing faith in his other core tenant, which is, as a lawyer, him losing faith in the system.
Which he does. Like,
exactly.
I don't blame him.
He's like, he just realizes he's like, no prison can hold this guy. Yeah. No judge is going to get, you know, nothing like that. And that's why I liked that Daredevil ends with, you know, again, we said spoiler, Daredevil ends with Fisk going to jail, and Hawkeye, he's just back out running his shit. And it's like, and I don't question it because I'm like, he would be in prison for maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
Even Spider-Man PS4. Oh, well, actually, he's technically still in prison.
No, I think he's still in prison, right?
Morales. Who?
Yeah, I was saying Spider-Man PS4. He's still he's in prison the whole game, like if I recall, right?
He's in prison the whole game.
Yeah.
But he's still running stuff.
Yeah, he's still got guys on the outside.
In Miles Morales, when you find out that like the Tinkerer is secretly working for Fisk from prison, because like Miles logs into that computer and like video or you know Skypes with Fisk from prison, but like still running stuff. So it's like nothing is gonna hold this guy. But yeah, I mean, I really. God, I hope so bad that they will just keep everything exactly the same and just make more of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I just whether it'll be good or bad or what, I just can't see them keeping everything the same. I just there's going to be stuff that's going to be different.
After watching the show, you remember that whole thing when he showed up in Hawkeye and everybody's like, well, that's not the same guy from the... Yeah. I see where people are coming from. I do see
I mean, he's definitely
way more brutal in the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Granted, the Netflix show is mature.
Yeah.
Like, again, like I said in season 1, he he chopped a guy's head off with a door.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or even like in season 3, I forget what episode it was, when he's driving with this cop, and he goes, take off your jacket, and I go, oh, he's gonna like suffocate him or something. Yeah. He takes the jacket, he just pummels the guy's face in.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yep, okay, he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Or even like Ben.
Or Ben. Oh yeah, Ben, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. I'm not here to threaten you, Mr. Uric.
Which was really upsetting.
And then he just goes, like when the way that he just gets up is like,
yeah.
I feel like to boil down the difference, and I do think that there is gonna be a difference because we didn't talk about it in the news because they corrected it and they said that it was accident.
Oh yeah,
but
I've seen this.
Did you
yeah,
see
yeah.
the thing
I
with
heard
Falcon
about
and Winter
this.
Soldier?
Yeah,
They did come out and say it was an
error,
accident.
yeah.
It was an error that it was for markets where you can't show any blood.
Oh, okay.
And that accidentally went on to the U.S. one. But that being said, I think it started a good conversation, which is people like, I saw people and it's like, it's so stupid because people online are, they go, you're gonna edit out the blood from Falcon and Winter Soldier, but you just added,
Daredevil,
this scene, and it's like the scene from The Punisher where like he's just like covered in blood and stuff.
I've seen the one thing about Punisher I will say, I've only seen the scene, I guess it's his imagination in episode 6 where they just gun his family down in front of them, him, and it's just like, and they're all just like collapse to the ground. I was like, well, that was brutal.
Yeah. But like people were like, so much for, mature content coming to Disney Plus, and it's like, yeah, but when did Disney ever say that Falcon and Winter Soldier was part of the mature content?
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're gonna see. I think so. Wilson Fisk, if he punched somebody square in the chest in Daredevil, I think he's punching a hole into their chest. When he punches Kate Bishop square in the chest and she like flies across the room, yeah. I think that's the difference there. Is that like it's just like, he's not gonna punch a hole in the side of Haley Steinfeld's head.
Yeah.
But but I feel like
character.
But I feel like if they were to because Hawkeye is obviously not in their mature content, but I feel like if they did a Daredevil season 4. They would make it for the mature content section. So it's like, I feel like you could do more. I still don't think it would be as bad, but really it could be, because what's the difference? They removed the Netflix title. If you, let's say 10 years from now, some 15-year-old kid is like, oh, let me watch Daredevil, and he watches season 1 through 5, he might not even notice a difference. You know what I mean? So it's like he might just assume that the first 3 were made by Disney because they went into the intro and they scrubbed out all the Netflix stuff. So, and they did it to all the shows. So, I think that you really could do it. Like, because I think what it comes down to is, people don't care who it was produced by.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going on Disney Plus and I see a man decapitate a person with a car door and I don't know any better, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty dark for a Disney thing. So if Disney then made a season 4 where he, cuts somebody's heart out of their chest and I'm still watching it on Disney Plus, you know what I mean? What's the difference between whether they made it or whether they didn't make it? Yeah. To a person watching the show, there is no difference. So just go for it. Like, that's what I say. Yeah. Just go for the blood. Go for the violence. Go for the swearing, because it's on your platform anyways.
Last few things I want to touch on the show.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that he would not... I mean, either of them, but I was hoping that Fisk would just kill Dex in that moment. He looked like he paralyzed him at the end credit scene. It's kind of like, oh, maybe he's not paralyzed.
That's like the same end credit scene from the Daredevil movie. That?
I've never seen that.
That movie,
the Ben Affleck one?
Yeah, that movie ends with Colin Farrell getting his spine broken, and then the end credit scene, or not his spine broken specifically, getting paralyzed. And the end credit scene is Bullseye, like Colin Farrell, on an operating table, like getting fixed up. It's
I'll be honest,
the exact same
I think the character made me hate the actor. I'm not going to lie. Like, I hated him.
Yeah.
And I get, like, and
He's
of course,
such a good
unfortunately, like,
character,
he has, like, a mental illness. Like, I'm not saying it because he has, but it's just, like, he's such a hateable character.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand him.
He's just such a sociopath. He's like Voldemort. He's just
it's just.
There's just nothing behind his eyes.
Yeah.
It's like.
Nadeem, I came around on him. Told you.
I
was not a fan of him.
Yeah.
Came around on him. One of my, small issues with season 3 is the FBI is just dumb. Yeah. Like, they're just stupid. And
they should have never made the deal to put him in the apartment.
And okay, so can you explain something to me real quick? Like,
now do you understand that his building where he lives is the same building from Hawkeye?
Oh,
It's
okay.
the same building where Eleanor
what's it
and
called?
where
The
the
Lincoln
auction is.
Hotel or
Yeah, but that's the same where he does the
Okay.
press conference.
Do you
and
think
he's
she'll
like,
come back? Vanessa?
Eleanor? Oh, Vanessa?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think in like Echo or if they do a Daredevil season 4, I think she'll definitely come back. They'll probably make her know of Maya as well.
I liked her.
Something like
I mean,
that.
she was gone for a season and a half basically.
Yeah. But she's just so integral to his character.
I was kind of hoping that she would be like, because she just kind of like, I was hoping that she'd be
more active. Like
no, not even more active. Like she wants him to like open up to her, and like be truthful and everything. And then she's like, well, wouldn't it just be easier? Like she goes like full like villain. And I'm like, oh, I thought she was more of like a, kind of half and half, like has a moral compass in some way, but like
I still love him type
right,
of thing.
Yeah.
She goes full like Skylar White season 5, where she's just like flips the switch and it's just like, we're in this together.
Yeah. So I came around on Nadeem, even though I hated him. And I'll just say and again, I'm just basically talking about season 3 because it's my the one I just recently finished. But 3 favorite scenes were obviously the end with the fight and him saying "I beat you," yelling in his face. I thought that was great.
You think the primal scream?
The primal
when
scream.
You messaged me that, I was like, "Oh, the primal scream is gonna come back in a big way." I was
oh my god!
Like that was like Charlie Cox is a fucking monster.
Yeah,
like he is so good in that show.
Karen visiting him and saying that she killed what the fuck is his name? I just had it in my head. His assistant, his old assistant, Wesley. Yeah. And what was the third one?
Poor Wesley.
There was a third one, but I don't remember it.
I want flashbacks in Echo with Wesley. I want to let him come back.
I was pretty shocked when he died too.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I was shocked. I remember one of the first times in that show where I was like, "Oh, this show is gonna be different." Was Owlsley, the warden from Shawshank from season 1. You remember him? He did a lot of dealings with Wesley and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Wesley just like throws him down an elevator shaft.
Oh, that I knew he looked familiar.
Yeah, he's the warden from Shawshank.
Yeah.
That was like I was like, "Oh, he's in this." I was like, "This is gonna be an awesome show," because you got to remember this is 2013 was when I so I was like 14 when Daredevil came out, which is mind blowing that this show's been around that long. But I was like, oh, he's in this, and then he just like dies like in the 4th episode, and I was like, oh my god, holy crap! Like I thought that he was a great character too, and then that was like a great moment for Wesley, and then a few episodes later he was dead, and I was like, this show's insane. Because I just figured, the new Avengers show, like. They're killing people left and right.
I do want to watch Defenders because I know there's a gap. And at the beginning of the 3rd season, I was like, wait, what did this building collapse on him? Mm-hmm. I know you said the only
when did he plummet into hell?
The only good thing you said is Sigourney Weaver in the show, basically. Like that's the only...
like Sigourney Weaver, and then like just the fact that it's like more of Matt and Jessica, and then like Matt and Jessica Jones like interacting.
Yeah,
because they're just like really good.
Yeah, and then Punisher. Punisher's next on the list.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
Punisher's great.
All in for John Bernthal.
Like I said, Punisher's great. Jessica Jones is great. Luke Cage is okay. And then
Iron Fist is
bad.
Blah.
Yeah, I would say like in that order. So like if you're gonna watch Defenders and then you're gonna watch Punisher, I would then say watch Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna watch Jessica Jones, if you go to Luke Cage, you're probably just gonna end up watching Iron Fist.
Okay.
Because it's like well, there's only 2 seasons left. Like but yeah, but Jessica Jones is really good, and again, Doctor Who being great comic book villains following Matt Smith and Morbius apparently, and Peter Capaldi and the Suicide Squad. David Tennant is second best Netflix villain, only to Wilson Fisk as Kilgrave or the Purple Man. He is fantastic.
In Punisher?
In Jessica Jones. He's Jessica Jones' main villain.
Cool.
He is like unsettlingly he did a lot of like bad things to Jessica Jones, and like he's partially in her mind in some scenes, but then he's also there and is the villain. But,
I know you always talk to me too about Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I should watch Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is Agent Carter any good or no?
Yeah, actually, yeah, Agent Carter is really good. Yeah, it's really good. It's just like there's just so much of it. Like you just gotta
really?
pick. No, I just mean everything. Like with the Netflix shows and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, I'm just like, pick your battles. Like if you really want to see like if you really like Captain America and the first Avenger or that era of the MCU, you'll really love Captain Carter or not Agent Captain Carter, Agent Carter. But yeah, like Haley Atwell and Dominic Cooper, like that show, it's all about Howard Stark, Peggy, and Jarvis. Like that, they're like the anchor of that show. Like that trio is like fantastic. And Dominic Cooper and Haley Atwell really give like some really good performances. Like I think I've told you before. Like there's a scene where like Howard kind of like admits to himself like how much he really loved and adored like Steve Rogers, and it kind of goes into like Howard Stark's like view of capitalism in America kind of withered away when Steve did. Like it's like it almost is like if Steve hadn't died, Howard maybe would have ended up being like a better father and a better guy. Not that he was a terrible person, but like Howard Stark wasn't the greatest person in the world. But it really does a lot for that character. But yeah, I digress. Yeah. So wrap up whatever you want to say with Daredevil.
I'm
we'll go to
I'm done. We gotta move on to Moon Knight. Okay. We went a little bit longer than we thought, but whatever. Yeah, okay, so the Moon Knight episode, the title of episode 1 of Moon Knight is the goldfish problem, not goldfish in a blender, like I thought.
Okay.
Which again would make sense.
The poster was a goldfish in a blender, and there is a goldfish in a blender.
Oh, right, in the show.
Episode, yeah.
I thought, goldfish in a blender would have been a fine title as well. Which, by the way, that's a great
way to transport a fish.
I guess.
Like that, yeah. I mean, if you don't have, like, a fish bag.
No, yeah.
Like, that's, like, a portable, like, sealable container. Like, I guess Tupperware.
Yeah, so, episode 1 came out last night, 3 a.m., or this morning. Did you stayed up?
I stayed up until 2:30 and then I fell asleep and then I watched it at 5.
Nice.
Okay. I woke back up.
So yeah, this is the introduction of a new character in MCU. He is dissociative. What is that?
Dissociative identity disorder.
Correct. And do you want to start with your thoughts, or you want me to start?
Yeah, I can give my I loved it. I mean, you can go on the channel, the TikTok, the Instagram right now. I mean, my short review is on there. I didn't give it like a star rating or anything. I would give it like a solid 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5, maybe a 5 out of 5. I thought it was great. I really think it really did remind me of like early MCU stuff, because it's like it's just you just start with following this guy. And then you realize that there's some like crazy stuff going on, and then by the end of it, it's like a superhero. Like I saw somebody tweeted, they were like, somehow the first episode of Moon Knight literally felt like like a Phase 1 MCU movie crammed into 45 minutes, like perfectly, not like badly crammed in. It was like you took me from just a regular guy working in a gift shop to me 1000% anchored in my belief that this guy has this Egyptian god in him that he turns into this, superhero. Like you took me on that journey so satisfyingly in 40 or whatever minutes it was. And I think the biggest thing with that is Oscar Isaac. I mean, he's incredible. Like, I mean, Oscar Isaac in general is fantastic, but he is incredible in this show. Like, he is so good as this character and as the different versions of this character. And when you first hear Mark's voice in Steven's head, and you're like, oh my God, it's Oscar Isaac. Yeah, you're like you literally have that. And I think that was so smart. I think the conceit too, to just start us off from Steven's perspective, was great too, because then it's like we're kind of gonna learn about Mark through Steven's eyes, even though technically Mark is who he is. Like Mark is the actual person. I think that that's like great, and I like that what they did with playing with reflections, and the voices in their head, like with both F. Murray Abraham as like Khonshu in his head, and with Mark in his own head type of thing. I thought that was really, really good. And there's also just like so many little things that just I really enjoyed about this. And also one thing that I will say that has been a big topic amongst film fans and MCU fans and stuff is like the color grading and how some of these films have looked lately. And I know a lot of people were looking forward to Doctor Strange 2 because it looks like it's shot so well and like the colors look real. How people were complaining like that, like with the green screen stuff, like there's like almost like a gray like tint to everything in No Way Home. Like,
yeah.
Right off the bat in this, I was like, wow, this looks shot. This is like incredible. The lighting in this. That's another thing too, is that I read that this is the first MCU show that was obviously still shot in a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic now, but this was the first one that did not have any restrictions on it aside from mask wearing and testing. Like, they didn't have to do a bunch of stuff with a green screen to pick up a bunch of stuff. Like, they didn't have to do a limited crew. Like, this was... And I feel like you can tell that. Like, when he is in London, he is in London. Like, they shot this on London streets in the real world. A lot of it is on location. I would say it seems like almost all of it is on location, aside... probably his apartment is a set, I would assume.
Oh yeah, probably.
But that's just like, I mean, it's an apartment. But like everything outside felt 100% real. Even when he wakes up in like the Swiss Alps or whatever, wherever he is, or in I think they say that it's in Germany. Like that you can tell is real. Like they're really there. And I don't know. I just really like the look of it. And I thought like the sound design was great, and I really liked still had that classic Marvel use of soundtrack, like "Wake Me Up Before You Go," and like
I love
the big
soundtrack.
car chase like scene like was great, and then opening up with like the Bob Dylan song, which apparently was Ethan Hawke's choice. Like he wanted that song because he thought that it really like spoke to the character, which I thought was great. All the kind of messing around with time where, I love the way that they're showing it, where we're not, like, you could do it in a way, and it might not be bad, but this is more interesting to me. You could do it in a way where it's just, he's Steven, and then he goes, oh, and then he's Mark. But it's like the fact that, at least for now, we're just seeing Steven, and then Steven, like, fades out, and then when he wakes up again, hours, days, he doesn't even know how long has passed. Yeah. It's almost like Steven, feels like he's like almost time traveling, like, because he's like, when he goes to the restaurant, he thinks it's Friday.
Yeah,
but that
was tough.
It's been he's like, when he was like, what day is it? And he was like, it's Sunday, sir. And he went, no. that was great. But I did like also just a little subtle hint of the fact that he ordered a steak at the end. It's like already we're seeing like that Steven is kind of like starting to like break a little bit from like where he is, because they say that like, why would you go to a steakhouse?
Oh, right, you're yeah.
But and then at the end he's
I thought they said she's a vegan. No, he's the vegan.
Yeah,
okay.
That's why when he orders the steak, he's like, what do you want? And he's like, the best one. And he's like, how do you like it? And he's like, very, very good.
Very
I like
good.
it. I like it very good.
They said so well done.
Yeah, and he's like, so well done that like I like that it's like you can already tell that like Steve, like his life is like beginning to deteriorate already. But yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, and I really loved Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. I'm same page as you. I'll just say real quick, I gave it 4.5 out of 5, and the only reason is because I thought some of the CG looked very bad. Like specifically the car chase. The cars I thought looked not good, and like when the logs are falling, like I thought those looked really bad. But other than that, I loved everything about it. I loved like, just getting thrown in and this guy. Well, first of all, the beginning shot with Ethan Hawke putting these stuffing this glass into his shoes and him walking away, and you hear like the crunch, like, oh my god, what the, like, it's like, what the hell's going on here? But just, you know, you get thrown in with this character who is, you know, he has one leg like wrapped around a post, and he has the sand in front of his bed, and it's like, what is going on? His door is
like taped.
And right. And then you see like a little later, like he throws in the garbage, and there's like a bunch of tape, and it's like, well, clearly he just does this every night. Yeah, I thought Ethan Hawke was great. I thought it was really interesting how, you know, like you said, like he kind of starts to lose it at some points, and then it's like comes back. And like, for example, when he has the brooch thing in his hand, it's like all bloodied around. He's like, what the, you know, what just happened? I loved the reveal of Moon Knight at the end. I thought that was fantastic. Like him, the monster chasing him, he breaks in, and then the monster is trying to crawl his way out. Yeah. And he pulls him back.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
And just like
I mean, ever since that first trailer where there's that, actually going back almost over 6 months, that was the first, remember the leaked clip? That was him in the bathroom. Was him, right. The final shot of this episode was him walking towards the camera. That the final shot of this episode was the first leaked image of Moon Knight in general, and it still looks great. Yeah, looks even better now that it's fully finished.
I'm very intrigued by this like cult that Ethan Hawke seems to be in charge of.
I'm so in on like
by like all of his tattoo, where he balances between if you are, you know, if the future, present, past, if you're worthy or something like that. And then, like when that one lady, she judges her, and you know she's deems like, not worthy. She just falls to the ground, like drops dead.
She's like, I've done everything right, and he's like, well, I guess maybe one day you'll do something bad. Yeah, I guess we'll never know. And it's like,
and I've seen a lot of Minority Report, like just people being like Minority Report. I've seen Fight Club. Which I don't get the Fight Club reference.
Well,
maybe
like split personality.
Oh, okay, right,
like Tyler Durden or whatever.
Yeah, good point. But that whole thing with like his kind of split personality and him, because I was reading a little bit on Wikipedia, like what that like kind of what that can do to a person, what that disorder, you know, what that means and everything. And there's mention of like kind of, you know, having like chunks of time just like missing. So like I think that's a big part of like him showing up on a Sunday, and it's like I thought it was, isn't it Friday? Yeah, and it's like, well, no. You mentioned like the keys and the phone that he finds in the rafters in his apartment.
Yeah, like Mark's like little stash in his apartment.
And
like
he's like calling, and they're like, well, I thought you were dead. Yeah, like, it was like 100 missed calls. They're like, who is this? Like. And it's like, Mark, what is that stupid accent you're doing? And I think, like, to me, like, the thing that I think Oscar Isaac is just, like, and something that I think is really, really cool about the character to show really about, like, the personalities and stuff. Like, I think, and Oscar Isaac said this, like, the accent, like, you'll get it when you watch the show. To me, like, again, like, I think, to me, Mark is, like, the main, like, main personality.
Like on the birth certificate, it's Mark Spector. Mark Spector. Like that's
and then like Steven, like he's this
like creation.
He's this,
almost.
You know, in his mind, right?
Yeah.
But like the accent is that way because that's not his accent.
Yeah.
Like he's doing it because that's what his personality
like
is in his mind.
In the comics, it's almost like the Joker. I mean, it's not really. Right. It's not really. I just mean in the sense of they keep it ambiguous. Like they've never definitively said. Just like with the Joker, they never definitively say what his origin is. Like, they never definitively say in the comics whether he was born with DID and then Moon Knight just became one of them, or if he got DID because of Khonshu and Moon Knight.
Because in the original run, isn't he just multiple identities and not personalities, I believe?
Yeah,
like he has like a rich one, and he has like
the original basis of this character was it still had to do with like Egyptian gods. That's where he got his power, but it wasn't like he was had the god in his head. It was just he was just like got these powers from this Egyptian magic type stuff.
Because I think he was dead.
He was
in
basically
the original run.
He was basically just Batman.
Yeah,
like originally it was just, but instead of having Bruce Wayne. And then like Playboy Bruce Wayne and then Batman, it was he had Moon Knight, and then he had, you know, Mark Spector, who was like this like mercenary.
Right, yes.
Stephen Graham in the comics is like he's like the Bruce Wayne playboy type, where he's like the, you know, gets dressed up and goes out to
Isn't
like the
one of them like a
galas and
racer
stuff.
or something?
Yeah, there's like because in the comics he has 3 and then Moon Knight, but in this I think, at least so far, they're going with you know, it's basically just Stephen Mark Khonshu is in his head, but and then Moon Knight, but either way, it's great. I want to ask you some theories on this, because I think there's a lot of great wiggle room, because I feel like we have to appreciate the fact that when was the last time we fully just dived into something that was brand new to the MCU?
I know, it's been a while.
And actually, has it been Eternals and Shang-Chi? But those...
That's true.
yeah, but those like heavily relied on the Avengers and all that, you know, all that stuff. Like they talked about the Avengers, and spoilers, the Avengers are in Shang-Chi at the end, in the post credits. So, but this just it just feels different. It just feels, I would say this I most equate with like Doctor Strange. Like I feel like Doctor Strange was the last time we really got this movie where we go from just regular person to, by the end of it, superhero, and you understand that journey.
I mean, they kept calling him Steven. I just kept thinking Doctor Strange. Like
I know there's two. I know there can only be 2 Steves at a time.
Yeah.
So like when Rogers left, so now we can bring in Moon Knight. But because we know so little, I feel like there's so much room to like speculate about stuff. So when we see him turn from Steven into Mark and then into Moon Knight, do you think that is physically happening? Like, do you think that he actually physically is being wrapped in these things, and then the Moon Knight costume just forms around him? Or do you think that that's just in his head and it's just him beating it up? Because we have no way to know.
That'd be pretty wild. Like if he's just... Because, like, he has... But the thing with that is, though, like, he has, like... You see in the trailer, like, he has, like, weapons. He has, like, the whole parachute type thing. You know what I mean?
What I'm thinking is, I think possibly once he becomes more accepting of it, I think maybe he has a physical suit, too.
Yeah, maybe.
That he's like, all right, I'm going to Moon Knight now.
Maybe,
you know,
yeah.
But I just think it's so interesting that we don't know.
I think it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it really... I do find the whole, like, kind of possibility of it being in his head type thing interesting, even though I don't really think... Because at the end of the day, like, he still has to be, like... You know, he still has to be Moon Knight, I feel like. So I feel like it'd kind of be hard to have it be in his head, but, you know, like, is it hard to believe that he's just a regular person just doing all this stuff? But you know what I mean?
Well, because I only wonder that because throughout the episode... when Steven fades out, it's always when violence is about to happen. Right. And then he comes back and everybody's dead or or something's different. And my thing is, like, specifically when the mercenaries are closing in on him and in the street, and then he like fades out and then he comes back and his hands are covered in blood and they're dead. Like, did Mark do that? Or did Moon Knight do that? We have no idea yet.
Yeah.
And if Moon Knight did it, like, did somebody just watch him turn into Moon Knight and then turn back into this guy? Or what, like, you know what I mean? Like, how does that work? I think that'll be very interesting
to see. And we only have 5 more episodes to kind of explain it. But I'm interested in, like, so the thing that is walking down the hall to the elevator, is that the voice in his head? That's Khonshu. Yeah. Voiced by F. Murray Abraham, by the way. Which, real quick, I mentioned this. You're like, I immediately got Venom vibes when I heard the voice. Just the whole kind of like,
you say tomato, and I say.
I still think it's kind of hard to do. Like, I'm listening to, and F. Murray Abraham, great actor, but like in my head, I'm still thinking like, oh man,
Salieri.
like, yeah, I'm just still thinking like, oh man, Tom Hardy, like with his voice, like,
Yeah.
it's just immediately where my mind goes to. I'll probably get used to
maybe
it.
if Moon Knight and Venom ever meet up in one of the movies, they can bond over it.
Maybe,
you know?
yeah. I think it's hard to like get that, have a voice that is not the actor playing the character, and have like somebody else's voice in it and have it sound right. I feel like it never sounds right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what you do to fix that or anything.
But too, I want to touch on too. I love that Conchu's he has no use for Steven.
Right.
Like when Steven wakes up in the field, and I love that too, by the way. The first time it happens when he falls asleep and then he wakes up and he's in the field laying down, and you realize most likely Mark just jumped out of that window. But Steven wakes up and he's like, his jaw's dislocated.
Oh yeah.
And and then you hear Conchu and he's like, "Oh great, the idiot's awake. Go to sleep." He's like, "I can't do anything with you." Like, I thought that was hilarious that he's like, "No, like bring Mark back. I can't do anything with this." Like, I thought that was really, really funny. And so I think that's another kind of like journey that we're gonna get, is like Conchu learning to, finding whatever value Steven might have to the whole thing, because I think that like that's kind of the interesting thing too, is that, you know, kind of in one body we could have like three, you know, character journeys with Steven, Mark, and then also Conchu, like learning to, you know, cohabit, because right now it seems like Conchu's really just using Mark, which is a big thing in the comics, is that it's like, okay, you gave me these abilities, but you're making me do all these things that you want to do with them, you know, not necessarily sometimes what I want to do with them. Like, you know, because there's times where Moon Knight just fights crime or whatever, but then most of the time it's Conchu, you know, making him or telling him to do things. So I feel like, you know, a good place to end the show would be like to hopefully have them all on somewhat of the same page, you know.
I agree, because
like,
then you
along.
kind of,
because right now it seems very dysfunctional.
no, yes,
considering
most
one
definitely.
didn't know the other two existed.
Yeah, what do we think? Like, I'm very intrigued by Ethan Hawke's kind of his character's role, and I think his name's Arthur. I think it's in the subtitles.
Hallow, or Hallow, or whatever. Harrow, sorry.
Okay. Arthur Harrow. And I have no background. I don't know if you have any background on him as a character.
No, he's like he's a very like minor character who they made a lot of changes to, which was that's another thing that really makes me excited for this, is how much Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac were able to. I don't know if you know this, but like Oscar Isaac just like asked Ethan Hawke if he wanted to do it.
Oh, really?
Like he was at.
Well, we know Ethan Hawke was usually not a fan of comic book things, right?
And I was not, and I've said this to you and on here. I was like, I don't want Ethan Hawke in a Marvel thing because he talked bad about. I think he's fantastic. I really think that he's great. Right off the bat too. But yeah, Ethan Hawke was saying like, it was like during COVID, like during like the lockdown where they were only they were only letting like one person in the restaurant at a time or whatever. So he was like, it was in New York and we were just I was going to get coffee, and then he was like, somebody came up to me who I realized was Oscar Isaac, and he was telling me about this Marvel thing that he was doing, and he was just like, you know, you'd be really great to play the villain in it. He's like, would you ever want to do something like that? And Ethan Hawke was like, he kind of like lightly touched, he was like, and you know, he was like, I don't know how I felt about that, but then he was like, the more I thought about it, he was like, I feel like, and I believe he was like, I feel like when things like that happen in life, it's a sign to act on it.
Yeah,
like
he's also not big on being villains, if I'm incorrect on that.
Well, this in
because like he's Black Phone, he's like, I think that's like his first, like one of his first times being like the bad guy, and I thought I heard that he like doesn't like to do that in movies, but I could be wrong.
But yeah, he's fantastic in this.
Yeah.
But what was the other thing I was gonna say about Ethan Hawke? So like so that's cool, like how he got cast, but then also like making Steven British, like Oscar was able to do that. Like they were able to put a lot into it, and almost all like the religious stuff and like the smashing of the glass and stuff, that was all Ethan Hawke's idea. Like because in the comics he does like worship Amet and stuff, like that's still in there. but he's more of like oh yes, and then my corporation will take over things, and then we'll have Amit will rule the world, and I'll be the avatar for it, and I'll be like
good Avatar references, by the way. Even though Avatar: The Last Airbender is not really an anime.
Yeah, but I get it. It's because it's like I feel like if they had said cartoon, people would be like, "Oh, it's a cartoon, is it?"
Yeah,
yeah. But it's I get what they were going for.
Did Ethan Hawke summon that creature, or is that in his head, or what do we think? That creature that chased him into that room.
I don't know, because
I don't know if that was real.
Because
that looked good, by the way. I like the way that looked.
I feel like
scared.
there's a chance that we're gonna find out that just like Khonshu is in Mark's head, that Amit is actually in Harrow's head.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe it was Harrow that maybe just like Khonshu can bring forth Moon Knight in Mark. Like maybe Amit can actually conjure beings or beasts or whatever in the real world. So maybe that's something we'll find
maybe
out. Yeah, because he doesn't strike me as somebody who has it's not really magic, but powers. I don't know, what do you call them?
But he has that whatever thing that he's doing with his arm.
Yeah, he does have. Yeah,
so I don't know what that.
But yeah, like I feel like that's probably what we'll find out, is that like Amit actually, like, because when he was talking about the Avatar, that's what he was saying was because Moon Knight is Khonshu's avatar. Because what does he say? He was like, Amit was betrayed by her own avatar. So I think that probably the show, in the Marvel formula, if it's going to follow it, I would say the show will probably end with Ethan Hawke fully becoming Amit's new avatar, and then they'll probably have like a physical fight, because right now Moon Knight would probably pulp Ethan Hawke's head in.
Yeah.
So I think Ethan Hawke's going to need to have a little bit of a power up if they're going to go like toe to toe at the end of the show. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's so cool, and I love this. Like, I mean, you think like you're like, oh wow, Egyptian gods exist in the MCU, and it's like, well, we found out that all of Norse mythology is true 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if Norse gods are real, why not Egyptian gods? And then in the comics, God is real, like with frickin' Living Tribunal, or a whole bunch of different figures have basically assumed God, like and when I say God, I mean like Catholic, like Christian sense of God has been in the comics before. So is Santa Claus, so anything's on the table. And I think that's why I love this so much, is because it feels like it's just such down to basics, and I also think it really looks great. I think the costume looks fantastic. I mean, even just in our own thumbnail there, like look, like that costume that is just such a great. I mean, that is a perfect screen adaptation of that costume.
And I think it's a great mystery. It's just like, what is,
and we haven't even
what's
seen
real,
Mr.
what's
Knight yet.
We've seen what?
Mr. Knight.
Oh
We haven't
yeah.
even
Oh
seen him
yeah. I
yet.
forgot about, like, there's like the magician and
Yeah. There's like gonna be so oh, it's so good. Now what I do wonder is if this is how I feel. It's not necessarily this in the comics, but I feel like maybe this is where the show is going, is that if Mark's avatar of Khonshu is Moon Knight, I feel like maybe Steven might transform into Mr. Knight, which would be cool.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that would be, because he's more like gentlemanly, he's British or something. That's just what I was thinking, because it's like if Mark because he tells him when they're talking in the mirror, Mark says, you have to give me the control before. So it almost seems like Steven can't turn into Moon Knight.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
So maybe Steven will turn into
each
Mr.
personality then has its own version of Moon Knight.
That seems like maybe what they're going with.
That'd be interesting.
And if that's the case, that's awesome. I love that. That's so cool, because then it's like it also makes Steven more valuable to the whole thing. You know what I mean? That it's like, well,
it's not like he's just backseat.
It's like, well, like maybe Mr. Knight is somebody who can go in and be more, covert or whatever in whatever it is, or be more.
And Mr. Knight is just the one with the top hat, right? So the one who looks like the magician, or is this a different one?
No, he's the one. He might have a top hat sometimes in the comics, but he's the one in like the 3-piece suit in like the posters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or he has just like the crescent moon like on his, like it looks like he's just got like fabric stretched over his head. That's the other thing that I love too, is that like just how the fabric on the suit looks. You know what I mean?
This one. Okay.
Yeah, like just how the fabric on the suit looks like
Oh, that's what I was thinking when I was thinking magician.
yeah, no, because of the gloves, probably.
Yeah.
But he definitely looks like a magician.
Oh, this is what it was, because he has like a little. I think he has like a little wand in his hand or whatever.
Yeah,
It's probably not a wand, but
because what it is Moon Knight has the the more that I talk about it, the more I think that's absolutely what it's going to be. Is that Mark becomes Moon Knight and Steven becomes Mr. Knight, because Moon Knight has the crescent shaped, like, lack of a better term, like batarangs that he can like throw and like hit people with. Mr. Knight has the gold batons.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same. It's the
kind
same
of like Daredevil has batons.
Yeah, it's the same thing as Moon Knight. They both have the golden weapons. It's just, you know, different versions of it. So really, honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I'm convincing myself. And I might be totally wrong. This is just how I'm.
I would hop
on
this try. I would hop on that.
Yeah, that maybe that is. You know, if Mark's Khonshu avatar is Moon Knight, then Stevens would be Mr. Knight. And then maybe we will get a third personality revealed like by the end of the season, because, you know, in the comics, so there's been like, you know, half a dozen. Sometimes it's just Mark, you know, for times where like he kind of gets like smashed back together. Then sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. So I feel like they really can go open with it, because as popular of a character as Moon Knight is, and you know, as long of a legacy that the character's had, it's really a character who's only been around for like less than 40 years, like, and has a following, but like kind of like a niche cult following.
I was gonna say it's a niche, isn't it? Yeah.
So you can really open the kind of book and really do whatever you want with it. Like, I think that's like, it's perfect. I think that's just why I'm so excited for it. Like, I'm just so excited for this show.
Unfortunately, only 6 episodes as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, all of, like, I mean, besides WandaVision, but like, I love Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was 6 episodes. Like that, I haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier in almost a year. But like, I still loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I watched part of it yesterday when the like censored stuff came out. It is back to normal, by the way. I checked it again. And then I just love it because I have no idea where it's gonna go. I have no idea what the limits are, if there's any, on this character, on this series. And I love that it has that light MCU tone, but it's also very violent.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's awesome. And also, it never made sense to me when that Falcon and Winter Soldier thing went out, that they're editing the blood out, because I'm like, they just posted an episode of a show where the guy wakes up and he literally like pulped in 4 heads. Yeah. Like, the people at his feet are literally, there's pools of blood around them, and his hands are dark red. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think, you know, I think they're really just like letting him go for it. Like, I just feel like there's so much creative freedom. And honestly, Kevin Feige's been saying it. I feel like even me, I love Kevin Feige. I feel like, you know, I haven't really believed him, you know, that it's like, well, you know, Moon Knight's going to be pretty different. It's going to be, you know, a little darker. And it's like, okay, it's like, all right, I'm sure it will be. But like, so far, I think it's lived up to that. I think even if you take the violence and the blood out of it, I think that Ethan Hawke's villain is the most menacing villain that we've gotten so far in the MCU shows. Yeah, because he's just like an unsettling, like, villain. I mean, he just seems evil. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know that sounds simple, but it's like, you know, with like Carly Morgenthau, it's like, yeah, well, but you kind of understand where the Flag Smashers are coming from. Even John Walker, it's like, yeah, but you know, he saved those people in the last episode, and he said he was sorry. So, you know, and then who was even the villain in WandaVision?
Agatha.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great character, but like, she held her kids on a leash for like half an hour and was like, you're the and then they shot lasers at each other. Like
and
this
then you got,
feels like
Loki.
Yeah, which like was there even a villain?
Not really.
Exactly. Miss Minutes.
I guess the TVA.
Yeah, like I feel like Miss Minutes was genuinely the most evil person on that show because like Kang was just
you had
like
Kang, but he was in the last episode,
and
so
he
like,
wasn't evil. He was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Please let me die.
Yeah.
And then Sylvie did like that. I mean, that was pretty much it. But yeah, like so I feel like too that he is the most villainous presence. And I like that we're not. And then in Hawkeye, it was Kingpin, but it was the holding the villain reveal until the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that we're not doing that in this. I really hope that they move away from that because they kind of went 4 for 4 on the villain doesn't show up until the last episode thing. In terms of their Marvel shows, so I'm glad that we started it right off the bat with Ethan Hawke. Yeah, I really really enjoyed it. What else do you want to say?
I basically
do you have any predictions or any other like theories you might have about stuff?
I don't like. Again, I think the idea of his two different main personalities having 2 different Moon Knights, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think they can go both ways. Like I think, like Mr. Knight. Kind of Moon Knight is more serious when he's fighting, but maybe Mr. Knight has like Deadpool-esque quips.
Yeah,
when he's
I can see that happening.
Battling or fighting people.
Because we haven't heard Moon Knight speak yet, right?
No.
He didn't speak because he was Mark, and then he turned into Moon Knight, and
right.
then he didn't. He was just beating him to a pulp.
Right.
But like Moon Knight definitely talks. Like it's not like a thing where he doesn't talk when he's Moon Knight. So I'll be interested to know what Moon Knight sounds like.
Yeah.
And then what Mr. Knight sounds like. I think if I really have one hope for the next episode, I want to see Mr. Knight in the next episode.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's the same thing where you get a tease of it at the end. But I'm really excited for this. I'll close before we close out. I'll just read Michelle in chat said, first episode of Moon Knight was like being in the worst schizophrenic / OCD nightmare. Yeah, in a good way. I wanted it to keep going to the very end, and it all came together in the men's room. Perfect. Can't wait for episode 2. And the costume is gorgeous. I think it's in his head, to be honest, because if Mark if Mark is the reality, then Steven is in Mark's head because they can't be in the same place at the same time, if that makes sense. There may even be another personality that did all these killings, and then Steve wakes up from them and he's back. It doesn't even have to be Moon Knight. Yeah, there could be. Yeah, that could be another one, that there's a personality in there that even nobody knows about.
Right.
I think that could be a possibility too. But yeah, that'll do it for our Moon Knight review. Thank you guys for joining us. And thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Planet Film Live, episode 79. Next week is episode 80, where we will probably be talking Morbius, probably.
Probably, yeah.
But we will keep you guys posted on that, but we will definitely be seeing it and reviewing it in some capacity. And like we've been saying, keep an eye on our Twitter and our Instagram and our TikTok. You can follow us on all those platforms at the official PFN right down there at the bottom of your screen. And that'll do it for me. I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been your other host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to Planet Film Network. Subscribe to PFN Gaming. Let us know what you thought about any of the topics in the comments below. Subscribe, don't subscribe. Follow on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram. And we will see you next time.
Boom.